Yes, people, back in the house again, or out of the house. 19 degrees. It's really, really nice out here, mate. 23 degrees today. Get in there, D-Lead. Yes, yes. Hope you're enjoying this nice weather as well. Do you know what I'm saying? It's got to be done, innit? It's got to be done. Wow, what are we up to? I watched that Netflix documentary last night, and it was interesting. The one on Fred West, and with all the new details and all the new stuff that was meant to sort of be completely new and sort of not seen before. And in a nutshell, I wasn't very impressed with it, to be fair. I thought it was a load of old bits and pieces. Hello, Dorothy. The cat, if you can hear. She knows I'm doing a video. But I've just found it was a lot of old bits put together, and it was a lot of stuff you'd already seen. There was a few bits with Fred and sort of the police interviews, and there was a few little bits were kind of new that I've not really seen before, but it didn't really sort of go in any direction that I thought it would go in. I thought it would maybe highlight more of the lost victims. You know, all they sort of went through was everything we already knew, and they didn't sort of touch on anything new or anything which might lead to new discoveries of bodies being made. Yeah, I found it was a bit shallow, really, to be fair. I thought they'd go in a little bit more depth, and I thought they would sort of bring up the idea that it wasn't just this area in Gloucester where Fred was. You know, there was other areas where Fred was up to no good. Even Stephen West said that there was more. It was the tip of the iceberg. We didn't even get to know, you know, what he actually did, because he died with it. He died with exactly what he did. But there was suspicious things that were going off in Scotland when he lived in Scotland. He lived in a few parts of Gloucester where suspicious things were going. And obviously you've got Berkeley Mill, you know, the main area where people think that, you know, up to 40 bodies could be laying there, just laying there. You know, Fred has been seen at the mill. He used to work there. He's been seen by locals. I've spoken to locals myself, and he's been seen digging trenches. Okay, that's kind of what he did. He was one of them kind of guys. He was an odd job man. He did bits and pieces. He dug trenches, but he could dig trenches really fast, apparently, so I've heard. But I've spoken to at least 3 local people in the area who drove by when Fred was working there, and he was out on the land digging, yeah, doing bits and pieces. So you tell me, why is that never been investigated? Why won't they open it up? Yeah, why won't the people who own Berkeley Mill, you know, which is Berkeley Castle, by the way, Berkeley Castle owns Berkeley Mill, or Sea Mills as we know it, and they won't let anyone in there. Trevor McDonald went down there and tried to kick up a stink about it, and he didn't really get anywhere either, to be fair. But I don't think he knew that it was owned by Berkeley Castle. Yeah, and Berkeley Castle were basically saying that they can't even bring the dogs in, because they were saying, let's bring the dogs in. Is it the Cavadog dogs who smell like rotting flesh and things like that? They're brought in for those occasions when they're trying to locate something, and they point blank said, no, you're not bringing them in. We're not allowing that. Yeah, why if there's nothing to hide, why won't you let them just bring a few dogs in and just check it out, just for curiosity, and just to keep, you know what I mean? If you don't think anything's there, then let them in, let them check it. But they didn't. They wouldn't let him in there. They wouldn't let him do any investigations, any digging or anything like that. But I know people who have gone into that building, and they've said there's some weird shit in there. Yeah, it looks like weird bits of building, weird bits of stuff that's been sort of, do you know what I mean, like rebuilt, re-bricked up, sort of. There's cement on the floors and stuff like that, which again looks like there could be something underneath it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's some dodgy shit going on. I mean, the outside of it is fucking weird enough. You go inside and, like, yeah, I have been told it is incredibly spooky in there. I think that's where his main hub was. Yeah, I think he was filled up in his house. He was filled up in the house. That's why he spilled over into the garden and started burying the bodies in the garden, because there was just no more room in the house. Now, finished in the garden. I mean, there was quite a few bodies there. I mean, there was 9 in total, wasn't there, in the house and the garden altogether. It was like, that's a lot of bodies. So I think, yeah, and a lot of other people do, that there's somewhere else Fred used to go to take his victims and carry on doing what he's doing. Yeah, he's been burying bodies for years, and I'm telling you, there's bodies at that Sea Mills, and it just wasn't brought up in that documentary, and it wasn't even mentioned, and I found that very, very a little bit hurtful from somebody who's been trying to highlight it for so long. And then you get Netflix just come along and they just think, right, we'll make a few quid here, we'll just hash together everything else that's everyone already knows, and we'll make a 3-part documentary on it and make a load of dollar. It just wasn't, it could have been so much more. It could have opened up the can of worms, so people do go to Sea Mills and do, you know, get the police involved and start digging, and you know what I mean, it could have really opened something up. And I think it's a massive missed opportunity. Mary Bastone, who went missing from bus stop just up the road here in Gloucester, yeah, obviously was never confirmed as one of Fred's victims, but they know he was seen with her at the end of the day. Yeah, why wasn't she brought up? They were seen together. Yeah, Fred and Mary. Mary worked in the cafe, that's why the cafe was dug up. Yeah, okay, she wasn't found there, so where is she? She's not in the cafe, yeah, which was dug up now, what was that, 2-3 years ago now? Because they thought for years she was there, you know, years and years they thought, you know, some dodginess gone on there, but the cellar was stripped out completely a few years back. She definitely wasn't there. So my question is where is she? I think she's at the mill. I do. Honestly, there's something in me that just says that she is there. And not only her, there's a lot of other people there as well. There's a lot of other victims. It'll just show the true extent of how sadistic and murderous Fred and Rose were. Yeah, and don't forget, there was Fred's brother was involved as well. Was it? I think it was John. He was sort of involved in the picture somewhere as well. Yeah, they were all at it. They were all just absolute nutters, mate. And yeah, disappointed with the documentary. I think it could have highlighted a lot more, and it could have spoke about these things that I'm talking about now. And I think if it did, they could have sort of done another documentary on it again, another 3 just on the mill and Mary Bastone. Yeah, tell me what you think in the comments, people. Peace and love.